So I had this dream the other night. I had this dream that some representatives from Jeep saw my YouTube channel and they sent me a message and they said, hey, we're doing some market research and we'd like to ask you some questions. Specifically, if you could change 3 things about the Jeep Gladiator, and only 3 things, what would you change? Well, here's what I would do. The very first thing, and you've heard me complain about this for 3 years now, is the exterior mirrors. It was really bad when the JL was out, but then once they released the JT and they decided to make a pickup truck, it was just completely unacceptable at that point. I have the camera held up to where my eyes are, and this is my view. Now the glass is adjusted as far outward and as far upward as it will possibly go, and this is my view. When you're towing a trailer down the interstate, this is just not acceptable. And even in daily driving, when you're switching in and out of lanes, not acceptable. They need proper mirrors. I can't believe that they took the cheap route on a truck that's this expensive and reused the JL Wrangler mirrors on this JT pickup truck. Got to have better mirrors. Come on, guys. Second thing would be the interior volume. Now, when they decided to switch from the JK to the JL, for some reason, they shaved nearly 2 inches of hip room out of this new model. I have no idea why you would take a vehicle that was already arguably too small and make it even smaller, but that's what they did. And the new console sits up higher than the JK console did, so as you can see, if you're a guy, your knee is going to rest on the transfer case shifter all the time, which is really uncomfortable. I mean, it's just a little bit too cramped and too tight. If you look down here at where my foot is, my accelerator foot, it's kind of right in the middle. It's not over to the right. It's like centered with my body, which is just not a natural position because the transmission hump is just too big. So the bottom line is it's just a little bit too cramped in here. You know, I would like to have a little bit more width and a little bit more depth, and you know, it would just make it so much more comfortable and a lot more useful as well. So I would add that interior volume back into it. The third thing kind of goes along with number 2, and that's the seats. Now everybody knows that these Gladiators are extremely expensive trucks. I mean, this one that I'm sitting in right now had a sticker of over $56,000. And yet you cannot get power adjustable seats in this truck. Not even on the driver's side. There's no power adjustment. It's just a manual forward and backward seat that you operate with a lever down here, you know, under the seat. You can tilt the seat back, you know, like the rear portion back here. You can tilt it, but that's really about the only adjustment that you have. Now there is a pump over here, a manual handle that you can pump up and down to raise yourself up, but as the seat goes up, it also tilts, which is extremely uncomfortable. So it really needs a power adjustable seat. I don't know why they won't do that. They have these excuses that are floating around on the internet. I don't think Jeep has ever officially said why they won't do it. But I've heard excuses like water fording targets. You know, they don't want to put electronics down low under the seat. That's just a bunch of bull craps, all it is. The Ford Bronco has power seats. And what's the, you know, problem with putting electric motors in these seats anyway? I mean, there's all kinds of wiring down below the seats that operates other things, you know, like you've got electronics in the shifter and the console here. You've got auxiliary switches down here. All this wiring goes down low underneath the console. So you've already got wiring down there. You know, I mean, I just don't understand why they won't give us power seats, at least, you know, on the upper trim levels anyway. You know, you start talking about $50,000, $55,000, $60,000 and you need power seats. I mean, come on. That would really help out in the comfort category, just like adding more interior volume would. You know, honestly, that's about it. There are other little things that I could complain about, like the ugly tail lights that protrude out from the body of the vehicle that are just begging to get ripped off on the trail, you know, and little nitpicky things like that. But I'm not even going to go into stuff like that. If those three things were fixed on this truck, better visibility out of the mirrors, better interior volume and comfort, and some power seats for crying out loud, if they would just do those three things, it would drastically improve this truck. It really, really would, especially for guys. Jeep, I hope you're listening. And I kind of think that maybe they are, because on the forums a few weeks ago, they were asking some questions about the interior. The one question that I saw them pose to members on the forum specifically dealt with the center console area. You know, maybe they're looking at ways that they can make the center console a little bit more useful, which would be great. I mean, there are 2 cup holders there, but other than that, that's about all you got. So it would be kind of nice to have a more useful console, but I don't see how they can do anything else with a console with this little bit of space that they've put in here. They really need to stretch this thing out just a little bit more and make it a little wider, give themselves some room to work on the console, and it would give us also some more comfort at the same time. So I don't know, it's one of those things. But that's about it. I mean, I really enjoy the truck otherwise, and I'm still really glad that they decided to make this truck. And I'm super, super glad they decided to give us a diesel engine in this truck. I mean, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, a diesel-powered Jeep pickup truck sounded like the holy grail. I mean, if you could like get out a piece of paper and a pen and like draw up the perfect Jeep, this is what it would be. So it's kind of crazy and awesome at the same time that they actually built this thing. Thanks, Jeep. But nothing's perfect. You still have some work to do. All right, guys, I'm out of here. We'll talk to you later.